Okay, let's just go back to this part. As I said, this pathway is the most important for you doctors. When you want to do anti-aging, anti-aging is not, as we all know, is not just topical. Topical, you're maintaining whatever the person has, or mostly you're hydrating it, or you're just trying to nourish it for a time being, which is not a permanent thing. But anti-aging is an internal domain, and that the main pathway of anti-aging is pituitary gland to liver, to the bone, to muscles, and to connective tissue body. So growth hormone is produced in anterior pituitary gland deep in the brain, and it circulates through the blood to the liver, where it stimulates production of hormone IGF number 1 from the liver. There is no any other organ can do this. Growth hormone stimulates fat tissue metabolism and producing lean muscles. So the very key in anti-aging is to burn fat. People who have more deposit, more fat deposit, they have less lean muscles. The more fat, the less lean muscle, the more aging. So that's why you get one of the main thing that we have to take into consideration, that do something to make the person lose more fat. And I'm not saying lose weight, I'm saying lose fat. That's why my weight loss, if that was my PhD on it, it's all about this. So I will like all of you to have that presentation as well. That combine it with this, then you will have a better tools for general and anti-aging. So if you really want to do anti-aging, that it's a permanent thing, you have to take care of this. And the best hormone, the only hormone actually stimulates the fat metabolism is the growth hormone. So that's why you see that younger, they have more muscles, they have more bones, so but they have less fat. But the older they become, they gain more fat, less muscle. So that's a part of aging actually. The less fatty tissue, the more muscles and bones leads to regeneration process or anti-aging or longevity. So this picture is the same as almost the other picture that I showed you yesterday. It's in the young body. When you have a young body like this, it's a high growth hormone. So as I said, the growth hormone, it's increasing until the person, during adolescence, the person gets the maximum height and weight according to genetic code. So because that's a time that they're growing rapidly. That's a time that they have firm skin. The skin has more elasticity. This is the time that they make more muscles. They build more tissues. The body is very active. The metabolism is most of the time is anabolic metabolism, unless the person gets sick that needs to break down something. But the majority of time, the person at this age is in anabolic metabolism, because the whole body is at the constructive state. So we call it building up processes. The biological processes, mostly we are building up new molecules, building up hormones, building up enzymes. It's a building up processes. This is called regeneration process. So during this time, the person is mostly in the regeneration process. So again, growth hormone function. So as you all know, but it might be refreshing for you guys, that when you're younger, having higher growth hormone or somatotropin, that is produced from anterior pituitary gland, which stimulates growth in humans. That causes first growth or shorter spike in children to adolescents. It's needed for physical development in both male and female. It regulates body composition. It regulates body fluids. It building muscle mass, bone growth, It's growth hormone is one of the hormones that is needed for sugar metabolism because burnt sugar cannot be stored as fat. So when the growth hormone becomes less and less, the sugar, instead of being burned, it turns to fat. So reduced body fat because a growth hormone burns fat to make more muscles, and for normal we need it for normal brain function, and growth hormone is required for focusing. See, the high school students definitely they have more focusing and concentration than somebody in 70 or 80 years old. So it's for learning, for concentration, for focusing, the growth hormone is highly needed. So again, back to the same one that I showed it to you yesterday compared to the young body, right? At the time that the growth hormone gets lower. But here, the problem is that the liver does not take the message, or there is the pathway. Pathway is not a healthy pathway to take to either produce messages or send the message. So that at this time, we stop growing. Like when we get older, definitely we have our maximum height and weight and everything, and the person is not like a child or like a teenager. Definitely the activity gets lower. So the bone loss starts because bone metabolism gets decreased. Muscle atrophy starts. Connective tissues is going to be losing the elasticity, and the skin wrinkle happens. So this time again, I explained it yesterday, is a catabolic metabolism. The main thing that I want to mention is that we have to stop this. We have to stop this. We have to make sure that the body does not get into the catabolic metabolism or destructive state for a long time. That's called the degeneration state. So because the body stays in a breaking down processes instead of the regeneration process for such a long time, that's going to happen. Exactly, that's going to happen. I went to Japan for almost a month years ago. I have a project, so I was like it's kind of interviewing like old people, first of all, I couldn't figure out the age because they have a very beautiful skin, supple skin. They were very upright and everything seems firm. But when I was talking, for example, to one of them, she said, "I'm 75 years old," and I couldn't believe it. And she showed me the document that she's 75 years old. And then she said, "Do you want to see my skin?" I said, "Of course." When I saw her, she didn't have even one wrinkle, nothing. And the muscles was so firm, the skin, the elasticity was beautiful, and everything. So it's a lot goes back to the culture, to the food they eat, to the environment, the way their lifestyle and everything. But then I said, I was shocked. I said, "Really?" And then I saw others as well, and one of them actually was much more older. It was like in early 80s, the same thing. I said, "What's going on here?" So I tried to. It's a kind of project. I tried to get information as much as I could. So then I realized that they have a wonderful liver. They have a great healthy liver, and they're not as toxicated as the others. So their hepatic system is clean, and they have a culture that they're not too much like. I don't know about your culture, but compared to Western culture that I am living, it was completely different world. That the man works, the woman is just taking care of family. So, and it's a beautiful culture to be like that. You know what I mean? And then I said, what's your job? They were looking at each other. So what do you mean by what's your job? I said, we are housewife. We are head of the family. I said, yes. I mean, that's a big job. But do you have anything, to do, to go outside, like every day? They said no. I said, okay, bingo. That's a reason. So it's whole culture can affect the process of, degeneration. So when you come to Canada, you see somebody is 50 years old. When sometimes I honestly I can't believe it that they look 70, because the lifestyle is not natural. Unfortunately, the modernization, the modern culture become equal to unhealthy and unnatural living. So that affects, the very first thing that's affected is the liver and hepatic pathway. So again, growth hormone in older body. Growth hormone in older body converts to IGF-1 in the liver. Even when we stop rapid growing after adolescence and growing to manhood or womanhood, we still grow. We still maintain. It's a part of the growth. And we still need the human growth hormone, but in a smaller amount for our body repair, regeneration, and renewal. Growth hormone is needed to metabolize and maintain the proper amount of stored fat in the body to make muscles. The more fat, the less growth hormone. The less fat, the more growth hormone. So if you really want to do anti-aging, take care of the fat, not just the weight. Take care of the fat. So in order to build muscles, in order to repair tissues and making bones and maintain bone density. These are all the process of, there is nothing else for anti-aging, okay? Again, brain reduces production of growth hormone as we grow older, but what hormone is responsible for our regeneration in adulthood? Again, goes back to IGF-1. So growth hormone stimulates the liver to secrete or produce the regeneration hormone, IGF-1, in order to stimulate proliferation of cartilage cells, resulting in bone growth and muscle buildup, and all repairs in all parts of connective tissue. So the whole anti-aging, anti-aging is the process of regeneration that happens from the brain to the liver. So this is a pathway, the main regeneration pathways. Again, you can see the brain growth hormone goes on the liver IGF-1. IGF-1 goes to the bone for bone metabolism, goes to the muscles for muscle buildup, and goes to the skin for connective tissues, for firmness, for elasticity, and for the strength of connective tissue. This is the main thing we should do in aesthetics. We should do it in our clinic, and this is so simple, so easy, and the medicinal protocol that I work with it for years and years. You can find it anywhere, and it's a very simple job. It's just the kit, give it to the patients, take care of this pathway. Take care of this pathway, then if you want to do anything topical, it's not going to harm you. It's just beautifying you, but it's not going to harm you. So again, this is another illustration that shows the less fat, the more muscle and bone. So that's again a regeneration process. The fat, excess fat, extra fat is stopping the regeneration process. So that's why we have to really, really take care of. So again, it shows the growth hormone goes on the liver, IGF-1. Again, the same thing, increases muscle mass, increases bone growth, and decreases adipose tissue. Adipose tissue is a fat deposit, right? It decreases adipose tissue. So this is something we need. We do it in weight loss, we do it in anti-aging, we do it in detoxification. This is the main pathway that is our job to take care of it. So IGF-1 and growth hormone, molecular structure is very the same because they both are steroid hormone. They're coming from the same family, right? They both have almost the same function. one in at the younger generation and younger people, and one in older people in terms of number, in terms of age. So, but they're coming from the same family. Now, I would like to talk about the hunger hormone. I don't know if you taking care of this, ghrelin, and its stimulatory effects on food intake, fat deposition, and growth hormone release as well. We know that ghrelin is hunger hormone, right? And the higher your level of ghrelin, the more hungry you get. So some people, they say, why do I get hungry all the time? Okay, I said, okay, you have to take care of this hormone. If we get one of this question that Dr. Andais yesterday asked me, so that she says she likes to eat, right? So you got to take care of this hormone. The ghrelin is a hunger hormone. Sometimes we get fake message. It's a fake message, it's not real. The body doesn't need anything to eat, but when the ghrelin goes up, and then we get the message of hunger. The lower levels, the more full you feel, and the easier it is to eat fewer calories. Then the hunger hormone goes lower, so you don't need much of that. You don't need too much food. So this is something that we have to take care of during anti-aging protocol. Therefore, if you want to lose weight, lowering your ghrelin level is essential. This is something that we have to take care. Again, ghrelin hormone is the molecular structure almost is, to me, it shows that it's close to, somatotropin. I don't know exactly if you see it in the lab, how does it look, but what I see from it is very similar. So again, see, that's another. Okay. The problem with ghrelin hormone is, or somatotropin, right? Let me just, sorry, somatotropin, it's a ghrelin hormone or hunger hormone. The problem when the hunger hormone goes up, the growth hormone goes down. So it's a growth hormone inhibitor hormone. This is something that we have to take care of it. Oops, sorry. Okay, the inhibitor, growth hormone inhibitor, somatostatin, is a hormone produced by many tissues in the body, principally in the nervous system and digestive system. So if you have heard that when you're nervous, you're anxious, it affects your digestive system. It affects, sometimes you eat a lot, sometimes you lose appetite. It goes back to this pathway. It regulates a wide variety of physiological functions and inhibits the secretion of other hormones, the activity of gastrointestinal tract, and the rapid production of normal and tumor cells. Somatostatin is an important hormone that works to inhibit the release of other hormones. It also regulates the activity of your gastrointestinal tract and prevent the rapid productions of cells. This hormone has been shown to act directly on pituitary somatotrophs to inhibit growth hormone release. So this is something that, as doctors, we have to take into considerations, because this growth hormone, we need it for the rest of our lives. We just need it in a smaller amount, right? But if another hormone is going to block it, again, we have to work on that pathway. So I would like a little bit talked about protein and carbohydrates here, because if you really want to take care of, the anti-aging protocol, or you want to give instructions to your patients, you gotta tell them that what's the best to eat. Because I personally, I'm not relying on any supplements. I don't take any vitamins. I don't take. I'm just relying on my food. But the food that I eat, it's just once a day, but it has a very quality, and always, carbohydrate is limited. I'm not saying that eliminated. No, it's just limited. But my protein intake and my mineral intake from the vegetable is much higher. Food intake is the most important factor that influences ghrelin level. Circulating ghrelin concentration rises before meal and falls after meal, for sure. When you're, before meal, you're hungry and the ghrelin hormone is so high. After you eat, it goes down. So total ghrelin level increases in night and decreases after breakfast in humans. On the dietary front, intake of highly refined carbohydrates, such as white bread, such as pasta, particularly in the absence of sufficient protein and fiber, can trigger increased ghrelin levels. So why do I say limit your carbohydrates? Because of this. And increase your protein, but limit your carbohydrates. Try to decrease carbohydrate as much as you can. If you really want to take care of this ghrelin hormone, just do this. High quality protein with a lot of green vegetables, such like green leafy vegetables, or any kind of green vegetables that are available in around you, because it gives you a lot of minerals one hand and it gives you a lot of fiber on the other hand.